Coming up on this week's episode of Flashtalk, we sit down with Kent State football to talk more about their matchup against Bowling Green and what they expect heading in on the road at Western Michigan. Plus, Kent State men's golf coach John Mills sits down with me to talk about the fall season and what to expect heading into the spring campaign. And finally, Eboni Pringle sits down to join the show, the Senior Vice President of Student Life at Kent State, to show what she provides athletes here at the university. All that and more coming up in a flash.
Welcome back to Flash Talk. Kellen Godfrey here with Kent State football head coach Kenny Burns. Coach, just wanted to kind of go over maybe not the result you wanted from the last game against Bowling Green, but what were some key takeaways from that game?
Yeah, obviously not the result we wanted, but, some encouraging things where you saw some of our youth grow up. And I think that's really important when you're talking about developing a football team and a culture. You saw some of our younger guys have some of their best games. Guys like Tevin Tucker had his best game. Guys like Nyland Brown had his best game. Those guys are freshmen, and they really stood up to the challenge. And then you saw Kai come out and play probably his best game since he's been here, and that's the Kai I'm kind of familiar with there from our Minnesota days. But there were some very good positives on defense. There was some positive offense, and we're gonna make sure we obsess over the things that we need to get better at, but still recognize that this team is moving in the right direction and we are growing. You can't hide our youth. It is what it is right now in our rebuild, but we're excited about the future.
You mentioned Kai Thomas. It seemed like he really had a breakout day. Why don't you talk a little bit about some positives you saw from him?
I know Kai really well, recruited him, had success in Minnesota. So what I did this week a little bit different is I kind of managed the run game a little bit just to help Coach Kearney out and put Kai in situations and plays that I know he's comfortable with and he has a good understanding of, and I thought it benefited him a lot, and we're going to keep moving that way a little bit in our offense with finding things that him and the O-line do well and make sure we showcase those. And I think when Kai gets in a rhythm, he can be expressive tailback, and hopefully he builds off the last game, gets himself healthier. He's healthy for the first time this year, and those are exciting things for a football program.
You had a breakout day for Caden Beatty and Matt Harmon. Speak a little bit about their growth.
Matt Harmon is a leader. He's a terrific football player. I wish I had him for more years than I have him for. He's definitely the captain of our defense and one of the bigger voices on our football team. I thought he finally put it together, and he played really loose, played disciplined, made plays in the backfield, which was great to see. And then, as he got going, they started doubling him a little bit, which freed up KB in the inside. And KB had some good flashes in the second half of the game. I think defensively, we've got to build off what we did that second half. We've got a lot of new faces on defense with some of the injuries we've had, and I think those guys kind of started to play together. And I think in defensive football, you've got to play together, and you got to have each other's back. You got to be sound. We talk about dying in your gap. You got to die in your gap and not just get headsy and try to make the play. And I thought that was the first time this year that I felt like we did that on defense.
So the kicking game, of course, we've had some change-ups this season. Going into this game, how are those decisions made really in game, and how do you go approaching that aspect of the game?
Yeah, when someone leaves, another guy's opportunity, right? So we lose Andrew Glass, who's a phenomenal kicker and one of the best in program history, and it's a good opportunity for Will to step in there and do a phenomenal job, and he did a great job. I think he kicked a couple in the end zone, hit 2 field goals. He's just growing each week, and we're blessed to have him. And I think he's really starting to find his way with our football team. The team respects him; they love him. They're rooting for him, and if he can keep getting better, he'll be a special kicker here too. And then Josh Smith just does what he does. He flipped the field a couple times for us. He's a veteran punter and a guy that's got a good voice in our specialist room, and excited for him. Well, I think he's helped Will a lot in Will's growth.
Looking ahead to the matchup ahead against Western Michigan Broncos, a place that you're very familiar with, what are you focusing on as we head into the week?
Yeah, Lance has done a great job with that football team. I was there the last time they went to a BCS Bowl game. I think the last MAC team that went to a BCS Bowl game, and had a good run there. And it's a great place with great resources, and they do a good job supporting their football program. I think that's where you're seeing the immediate success. But from a talent standpoint, they've got tremendous players. They've used the transfer portal to get a lot of players, and they have the resources to do that. And I think that's benefited them and the growth of their program. Their quarterback's phenomenal, a really good player, a guy that we also recruited that we had on campus. But they got players everywhere, and we've got to be on point. We got to play disciplined and loose, but then also put what we're doing each game. I think you're seeing us get better and better. We've got to start putting that all together and find a way to get a win.
Is there anything that you learned in your time there that you've brought into your current role here?
Yeah, trust the process. I mean, PJ did it the exact same way we're doing it here. There were struggles the first year. They're a little bit better the second year. Then the third year and fourth year really took off. And, we're trusting our process here. We believe in the players that we've got. They've got to grow up and they got to go through the maturation of what it is to become a football program. And those are things I take back. And it kind of hit me again playing them this week to just stick to the process and the plan.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate it. Go Flashes, can't grip.
Welcome into our Flashtalk studios. Dane Richardson alongside Kent State men's golf head coach John Mills. Coach, appreciate you being here with me, and take me through how the fall season has gone so far for you guys and what you've liked as you transition into the offseason before the spring.
Yeah, it's kind of been a little bit up and down, but we've had a lot of the freshmen step up and kind of get into the lineup, and that's kind of what you use the fall for, to kind of figure out your lineup and see who's going to step up. And, you saw that happen throughout the year where we've had 3 freshmen get in the lineup. So, once we kind of figure all that out, the seniors, Jordan, Bryce, those guys, Jordan obviously had a great season. So it's kind of, get those established guys and get the freshmen to kind of learn.
One of those freshmen, Isaiah Ibbett, he's been fantastic in a couple tournaments so far. What have you seen from him, and when he came in, his development so far in his first few months?
Yeah, as soon as he showed up, he looked like he was comfortable, didn't no nerves, just kind of playing golf and having fun. And it's kind of what you want to see. And for him to, we went up to Canada to finish second to almost win the event was pretty impressive for a freshman. So, I'm hoping to kind of see continued success for him.
You talked about his consistency last year. Jordan Gilkison, he's been fantastic for your team, to say the least. It seems like he's putting up top 20, top 10 finishes every single tournament. What can you say about his performance over the years and what he does to lead your group?
To me, it's just this passion and kind of grit that he shows on the golf course. It doesn't matter how he's hitting it. He just kind of grinds it out and gets it done. And that's what you want out of a leader. And, hopefully, we finish off the season well here in Dayton, and then, you can take a bit of a break, but, it's about kind of that spring, and hopefully you can continue that then.
Bryce Reed, a player that's really grown through his time here, now a veteran, almost always in the lineup. We saw a ton of improvement from him last year, some good finishes this year. What have you seen from Bryce and his growth through the year?
Kind of what you said, he's gotten better every year since he's been here. And he has that drive to be good, and it shows. And, I think he can be a little hard on himself when he's not playing well, but if he can manage that aspect of it, and, his game's as good as anyone. So hopefully, he can again finish it off the year well and go into the off season with some good momentum.
And what does the off season, coach, look like for you guys?
I think we take the off season to kind of look at each player and what they need to do to be better next spring. I think there's that time for a break as well. I think it's a much needed time for some of those kids to take a break. And that's the beauty of having a great golf facility. We have that ability to, you can take a break or you can keep practicing no matter what the weather is. And so, I think we'll continue to play some golf and play some of the courses around the area, but really kind of analyze everyone and kind of come up with a great game plan individually for the offseason.
You've been there to where your team has won MAC championships. You fell short the last couple of years. What do you have to do to prepare your team come the spring? Because it's one tournament. What do you have to do to prepare those guys to where you feel like this is a team that can accomplish it?
We definitely have the team to accomplish that. I think a little bit of that, we're always going to work. Short game is first and foremost the number one thing. Ultimately with golf, it doesn't matter how you hit it. Like there's going to be times you go out there and you're not going to hit it well, and it's just inevitable. So, if the short game's strong, then we'll compete for a lot of events and hopefully be in that position to win a MAC championship. But I think a lot of it comes from the leaders leading, especially the freshmen, and understanding the importance of it, and at the same time putting in the work so you can go out and just play and not get caught up in all that stuff.
We're certainly looking forward to you guys competing in the MAC championships and the spring season. And my last question for you, Coach. Kent State has a number of notable golf alums, of course. Corey Connors, Mackenzie Hughes, Taylor Pendrith, Chase Johnson has started to get on the PGA Tour a little bit. What is it like to have all those guys, for current guys on your team to look up to and said, hey, maybe one day I could be like one of them and play pro?
Yeah, it's, it was pretty cool watching them all at the President's Cup and listening just to our players and what they saw, watching them on TV, and the pride we have in them representing Canada, the international team, and most importantly Kent State. And they've been great for us. They open, they're an open book when it comes to giving their time to our players, and so it's really nice to have. Even with Chase, the younger guys, Ian Holt's another guy who just had a great year and is going to be on Corn Ferry next year. So seeing that and having our players have opportunities to interact with those players, I think it's really beneficial and helpful for their improvement over the years.
Yeah, that's great to hear, Coach. That's Kent State men's golf head coach John Mills. Coach, we really appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome into our Flashtalk studios. Dane Richardson alongside Interim Senior Vice President of Student Life here at Kent State University, Eboni Pringle. We really appreciate you joining us here on Flashtalk, and I wanted to start. Tell us a little bit about the goals around student engagement and how student life really connects with athletics here at Kent State.
The We Are Kent State initiative started a few years ago, and it's been a really good partnership to think about how do we enhance the game day experience on our campus. By getting our students encouraged, excited to attend and participate in our athletic events across the academic year. And so really being intentional around programming to encourage our student organizations to attend, but also encouraging individual students to come along with friends and really cheer on our athletes and get excited about their performance and the ways in which our athletes contribute to our campus environment and vibrancy across our universities.
What do you think are some of those qualities or initiatives that you really think have enhanced those increase in student fans to go see some of those athletes?
The promotions, the theme nights, and I think also showing our students the opportunities to engage in a shared experience. It really does create this opportunity to build camaraderie across our faculty, our staff, our alumni, and our athletes, when our students can be in the space and be able to cheer on our teams together. So that shared experience is really important, and it creates school spirit and pride, and just really has the opportunity to create some excitement on our campus.
I know First Generation Week is coming up in November. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
First Generation Week actually started as a day. And it is nationally a day, but here at Kent State, we wanted to extend that to a full week. Oftentimes, first generation students are focused on as, all the things that they may not bring with them to campus, but there are so many strengths that our first generation students bring to campus. So let me back up and talk about what first generation means. So first generation, particularly at Kent State and nationally, means that you're the first in your family who will achieve a college degree, right? That's huge. And so First Gen Week is that opportunity. So we have all across our university, on all of our campuses, our colleges, our departments hold events and celebrations that will allow us to make sure that we are highlighting and focusing on their strengths. And so athletics has been a really strong partner with us in that. over the last few years and allows us to highlight during games, but then also year round.
I did want to talk about Flashes 101 and the Flashes Activity Board.
Flashes 101 and athletic partnership is just a really good way for them to understand, once again, what are the traditions around our athletic events? Where are the opportunities for us to be excited and have a lot of pride around our athletic events? And so to be able to introduce 4,000 new students, right, to our community, and athletics being a big part of that community is really powerful. The Flashes Activities Board, they're just powerful. I mean, I keep calling them FAB. I forget what they stand for because they are so fabulous. I don't know if you've ever been to a FAB event, but typically students line up 2 to 3 hours in advance of the experience because they have a pulse of our students. They really are creative and thoughtful and intentional about what our students want to engage in. And so their events are just always so well attended and students have so much fun.
Tell us a little bit about the student initiatives that you guys have coming up late in October and into the month of November.
FAB is hosting an event on October 29th. From 7 to 9, it's going to be pumpkin painting. Of course, you don't want to miss out on pumpkin painting. It's trick or treating. Get that out on October 31st in the Kent Student Center and in the library. And on October 25th, undergraduate student government will be sponsoring a networking event called Sugar and Success. And so you don't want to miss out on any of those experiences.
That's Interim Senior Vice President of Student Life here at Kent State University, Eboni Pringle. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Dane.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Flash Talk. Make sure you tune in next week as crossover season approaches between fall and winter sports as we head toward our Flashes Frenzy. For Ethan Lachinsky, Justin Spots, and everyone here at our GFTV studios, I'm Dane Richardson saying good night and go Flashes.